My name is Victor. I am a compulsive eater and I weigh and measure. Oh, great. I love the timer. Cool. That'll work perfectly. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. And I committed to my sponsor, weigh and measure without exception and abstinence is the number one spiritual practice I do on a daily basis. I've been abstinent this go around since May 20th of 2023. So I have just over a year back. Um, Never really left. It's continuous back to back GreySheet abstinence. So I didn't really leave. Just decided to take my will back. Um, and you know, some this share will probably be a little chaotic, just because there's a lot going on in my head, and um, part of it has to do with just my mental health and finally dealing with a lot of the stuff coming up that I'm finally dealing with that I didn't realize was so impactful in my life. I mean, I knew it was impactful, but I didn't realize how much it impacted my life. Um, and especially when I was a kid, just being bullied. I mean, I think personally, I think that the the uh, school system sometimes is just like, you know it's just like it's a culling of who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. And we have so many teen suicides, and it doesn't surprise me. It's so because there were so many times that I just wanted to die. And there I just I turned to food because I just wanted to ease the pain of living, right? Or blot out the pain of living more than anything. Um, because that's I didn't want it was just too painful at that time. Not even getting bullied by my peers in school, but then also being bullied by my dad. And there's some interesting things that have transpired recently within the past year with my dad, and the memory I have of him, and it's kind of shifted a little bit to where I've and that's due to the fact that I've been doing a lot of work, not only on the steps, but through outside help. And but I still can acknowledge that he was a bully and he was violent, and he was verbally abusive also, and that my mom was an enabler and didn't keep me. So that my biggest resentments weren't really towards my dad so much, because I it was like, what you see is what you get. That's what you're getting, right? You don't really think too much about it. It was towards my mom for not really protecting me when I was a kid. So, I turned to food really, really, really early. I mean, it was like my second grade picture, and then my third grade picture, I'm at a normal weight. And then my fourth grade picture, I'm just huge. You can just see it. It's like, what. And, fifth grade, I was huge. Sixth grade, I kind of lost some weight. Seventh grade is when I started wrestling. And so, uh, and it's gotten a little better since you know, because of child abuse laws. But back then it was like the coaches would teach you all kinds of crazy stuff to lose weight. not just like exercising with trash bags, like 2 layers of trash bags on you in a hot sauna, so you can lose weight, but also like, I know that some of the kids also they gave the kids speed, to lose weight. So I wasn't one of those kids that got speed. I think that if I had some speed, I think I would have been on a different path altogether. Because I didn't start using drugs till way later. But anyway, you know, so I learned how to control my weight by compulsively exercising, and I used that for a number of years. And then when we moved down here to Texas when I was a kid, um, I was bullied. I was on the wrestling team in Wisconsin, and wrestling's like huge in Wisconsin. It's bigger than football. It's like bigger than football, bigger than hockey, any of that. If you're on the wrestling team, you're a superstar. And I made it to the wrestling team. And because I was a pretty good wrestler back then. And but then when I came down here, the wrestling was not like it was nothing. And so I put a, and that's been my like modus operandi is like this idea that if I just do this, I will be good. If I just do this, I'll be okay. That this will make me a real person. This will make me the person I want to be. This will get, and then when I get it, it doesn't do that. It doesn't ease that pain that I've been living with all my life. And you know, it so moving down here, I stopped. The wrestling team was just horrible, and one kid on the wrestling team um, was a, a he was a drug dealer, and and up in Wisconsin, it was like if you did drugs, besides the speed they gave you, of course, but if you did drugs, you were uncool. So I never really did drugs until I got down here. But it was like everybody on the sports teams down here were dope fiends. So um, so I dropped, I started using drugs, and then so eating and using drugs kind of went hand in hand for a long time. And then since I dropped out of school, I had no like compulsively exercising activities at that time. So I must have gained over 100 pounds. I was like, probably more like closer to 200 pounds, um, because uh, it was like I did nothing but sit in front of the TV and eat my eat my family at a house and home. I mean, I just and so I blew up. I mean, and had all the consequences of eating compulsively. It's like I had rashes all over my skin from like just the interaction with food and the legs rubbing together, um and the people that I learned that I had as quote unquote friends that I would hang out with were bullies too. They bullied me and made fun of me. And there it is. Okay. I'm coming up on 5 minutes left. So, it's like, okay, uh, you know, and then I started compulsively exercising again when I got a job. And, but it's still, my, I had a manager tell me that I needed a bra, and, you know, just horrible things. So the kind of the theme right now is being bullied. And so when I got clean and I mean when I got abstinent, you know, it talks about you know there's a piece of literature that I read, and it talks about the first thing that we have to do is stop compulsively eating. And then at that point, we can no longer deal with the pain of living with, compulsively eating or anything to replace us, which forces us to look for a power greater than ourselves at this point, right? And so when I finally surrendered to this program, um, it was like that I had that complete willingness to do whatever it takes because the food wasn't helping anymore. It was just hurt. It didn't it stopped easing that pain, it stopped giving that ease and comfort, that we once knew. And it was like that phenomena of craving would kick in every time I would eat, and it would still not just give me any relief. And so I started working on the steps, and that taught me a lot about looking at myself, and that's what get so there's another thing that I've read where it talks about this, that the program is a set of spiritual principles that are designed to ease the pain of living, um, and also that the program uh, gives us the opportunity to ease the pain of living through spiritual principles. And that's what I try to do today is ease the pain of living through spiritual principles instead of turning to food. And spiritual principles are anything, for me, it's like a principle and an action, my will and my life, the food, putting down the food, weighing and measuring the most spiritual thing I could do today is surrender my food on the scale, surrender my life on that scale. And then that gives me the opportunity to look through, live through other parts of my life, and I'm just discovering new things about myself through this life of abstinence, like that even in recovery I also go to Narcotics Anonymous for because I'm a recovering drug addict. And there's even in the rooms there's bullies. And I have a hard time hanging out with men, and it's because they're all just well, not they're all of them, but it seems like I'm attracted to that bully, you know and it kind of like it's a weird thing. So I was sitting in a meeting last night, and this is only because I'm abstinent. I would never have this if I never got abstinent. I could get clean. I was clean for a long time before I got abstinent. And I believe um, that this getting abstinent was the clarity I needed to realize these things. And I almost have a minute, so a minute left. And I had this clarity today that to realize that these things are unacceptable to me, that this group of men that I used to look up to or wanted to be friends with or whatever are bullies. And it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to make fun of people while you're sharing in a meeting, right? It's not acceptable to make crude remarks about people in a meeting, these activities that people do. And I'm realizing that I don't want that anymore, and it makes me uncomfortable, and it makes me almost physically ill. And like I want to, like, like throw up how physically ill I get from that. And so with that, it's like the beautiful thing, and my time's almost up, is that, and I'll finish with this. The beautiful thing about that is that I can see it today. And I can see it today because I'm abstinent today. And you know, it talks about the road of happy destiny at the end of the big book, the big at the end of the first 164 pages is like, as we trudge this road of happy destiny, and it's not to happy destiny, it's of happy destiny. And I am on this road, and I'm grateful for the sunlight of the spirit that gives me guidance today, and that greater consciousness that we have today. And it's only through Gray Sheet Abstinence and the people in this fellowship and the greater consciousness of the Gray Sheet um, uh, fellowship that that I've been having freedom from active addiction today, from compulsive eating. And that's all I got. Thanks.